The car I'm reviewing today has a diesel engine, an automatic gearbox, the windows don't roll down, and it doesn't even have a music system. But it has a few optional extras that includes a machine gun and grenade launchers. This is the Mahindra Armado, and welcome to Evo India. But before we start, like, share and subscribe to the Evo India channel to watch exclusive content like this. Pictures don't do justice to just how massive, just how beastly this Armado looks. And it's 5 meters long, it's 2.2 meters wide and 2 meters tall. When you don't have that machine gun mounted on the top, that is, has a massive heavy duty winch up front. These really chunky 318 section BF Goodrich tires. Move towards the side and you've got clamshell doors, so soldiers get protection from both sides when they're fired upon. Now move towards the rear. And there's so much space at the back to load extra stuff over here. You have a air inflation system inside this, and this can go over literally everything. Mahindra Defence has made a vehicle that's specifically suited for the army, built specifically for military purposes. There was no such instance before that the Indian Army had any such vehicle. The Gypsy was made to suit military purposes. This was built for military purposes, something like the US had with the Humvee. Just like me, you must have felt proud too when you saw the Armado strutted stuff on the Republic Day parade. But there was so much interesting about it, I actually had to come and see it. There's a lot I can't tell you about it because of course this is a military vehicle, but just look at this space. Now this is a hatch, and Mahindra has cleverly designed a two-door hatch that also works as protection for the gunner on top. You've got the machine gun mounted here and you get three-sided protection with the shield up front. How cool is this place, huh? Beats a sunroof any day. Okay, let's start with the regular stuff because very little of the Armado is regular. Well, the engine, it's a diesel engine, but it's a 6-cylinder diesel engine, and it's from a company called Tyre in Austria. They make military grade engines that can take a lot of abuse, a lot of dust, heat, cold, everything. You know, you throw anything at this and this engine can take it. It's so tried and tested that Mahindra has used that particular engine in the Armado, is making those engines in India. So it's an amazing make in India story. The entire vehicle as such, this is for the first time that a armored light specialist vehicle has been inculcated into the Indian Army, that has been made in India. Before this, it was the Gypsy that was modified for such purposes, but for the first time this is made for the military only. There is no road going version of this vehicle. That engine made in India, it has an automatic gearbox, so it's easy for the army to drive. You can drive this over long distances, has a massive fuel tank. The fuel efficiency, I'm told, is excellent. So very comfortable vehicle. Some bits that Mahindra shares with the armored division are these seats, the steering wheel, those grab handles there, and a few bits and pieces like these stalks behind the steering wheel. They are from the production cars, the Scorpio, the Bolero camper, you know, things like that that have come into this car. But otherwise, everything is built from scratch. Can you imagine that? Few hundreds of vehicles are made every year. For the first year in 2023, 250 vehicles were delivered to the armed forces. Going forward, the Indian Army has given an order for about 1300 vehicles that the company is going to deliver over the next few years. But it's such a small batch of cars, yet it's completely made in India. There are a few parts, of course, that have been imported for this used to suit the tough terrain that the military uses these vehicles on. But the concept, the design, amazing. Yeah, this is a modern engineering marvel, you can say, and I'm honestly quite honored to be driving a vehicle like this one. The Armado really makes me feel proud of the engineering talent that is there in India, and making a vehicle like this for our defense. That's the toughest test you can have for any vehicle. That the armed forces really puts the vehicles through their paces. 5 years of testing went on, and after that the Indian Army placed their first order. So can you imagine the rigorous level of testing? This feels solid, indestructible, almost, you can feel invincible when you're sitting in it. Bullets won't pierce through this. You throw a bunch of grenades, nothing's gonna happen. Can you imagine how tough this vehicle needs to be? That engine has plenty of torque, 500 Nm of torque. It'll pull it through anything. And this vehicle can do 120 kilometers per hour, and it can do that off-road. It is the fastest vehicle in the armed forces, besides of course the GS 800, but that's a road-going SUV. This is armored. It can take bullets, it can fire bullets. Can you imagine that? Almost B7 levels of ballistic performance. Oh, well, it's got power steering, the seats are comfortable, you have amazing ground clearance. You have amazing ground clearance. I don't know the number, but I'll tell you that if there is not enough clearance, this thing will smash through the surface in front of you. It's got that level of toughness. I really feel invincible. It feels like I've gone to the gym for a couple of years to drive this vehicle. Oh, it's an occasion in itself. The armed forces, they really face a tough life. It's definitely not one of those easy jobs out there. You've got to battle the terrain, the temperatures, and you're out at months and months at end. You don't have the creature comforts. At least in your vehicle, everything is comfortable. The seats are nice, the suspension is great. Bilstein dampers on these ones, that they really take on all the terrain you throw at it. We've got nice air conditioning here. Only thing it doesn't have is a music system maybe, and we can make enough space for that. This space in the middle, well, that's for storing all your ammunition. You've got a hatch up there behind me. Because this is a vehicle that's built for all sorts of terrain possible, all sorts of climates possible, the tire pressures in the wheels can be controlled from this center console. So you can have different pressures that are programmed in this for different terrain to be used when you're driving on that terrain. So you can either use one for the best of roads, you can use it for off-roading, for sand, for rock crawling. Even if you want to drop the pressures completely, you can do that. These tires will take it for many kilometers after that. So it's completely planned out. You have different pressures set for different loads in the vehicle. Say you're only 4 people getting transported in this, you don't need very high pressures. You can set it for the lowest load. You load it up with all your ammunition. You have a machine gun on the top that adds to the weight of the vehicle. That's when you increase the pressure. You have all those settings where you just press them. You can turn your diff locks on for the front, for the rear, and well, everything is controllable. The lights, different types of lights, because this is after all a high mobility vehicle in the army that's going to be at the borders. You need different types of lighting that is required where you have to go undetected, that kind of thing. Of course, I can't get into those details because, well, those are confidential and something that's not to be revealed, obviously. But there is so much packed into this vehicle. It's not just transport. it can do so many different jobs. If you Google this vehicle, you'll find pictures of this vehicle in UN livery as well, the white with the UN stickers on side. Well, that is one of its applications, and going forward, can you imagine the levels of applications for this vehicle? It's a tried and tested product that has been deployed in the armed forces. The army has tested this vehicle and presented this vehicle in places like Dubai in front of 25 different armies of the world. So the Armado is quite frankly tried and tested, and it has delivered, and that is why it is such a big success in the Mahindra universe. Another interesting feature in the Armado is the Armado uses a navigation system called INS. It doesn't use the internet, it's called inertial navigation system, and can trace a route for you from wherever you are on land. It will mark out its points wherever you're driving, and it's not connected to the internet, so the enemy can't trace you, can't hack you, and you can share your route to anyone, and once that route has been traced, anyone following that route will go along the same lines. So it's an amazing feature for a military purpose. Safe, doesn't need the internet, and can work everywhere wherever there are no roads as well. What's impressed me more than anything is that you can drive this like any other car. Once you got used to the size of the vehicle, it's very easy to drive. And because you're sitting high up here, and because it gets the military colors, you get this shade of khaki brown, you get this olive green military color. When people look at that car, they respect it, they give it space on the road, and you are known for, when you're driving the vehicle, for your service to the nation. And in this car, it builds so much more respect. Oh wow, this is something. It's got solid presence. If you watched the entire video, you're probably thinking, how do I own one? Well, you can't. This is not a civilian vehicle. This is for military purpose only. But let me give you a ray of hope with a small story. Somewhere in 1989, when Arnold Schwarzenegger was driving down the freeway somewhere in America, he saw a convoy of Humvees on the other side of the road. He turned around, chased them, and then eventually found out all about them, went to GM and asked them to build him a civilian vehicle. And that's how the Hummer H1 was born. Well, maybe Dhoni is seeing this video and asks Mahindra to build one for him, and we finally get a civilian version of the Armado. Wouldn't that be a beautiful story? Thank you for watching. Like, share and subscribe to the Evo India channel, and hit the bell icon to stay notified. See you next time. The Mahindra Armado graces the cover of the latest issue of Engage 4x4 magazine. It's on stands now, so go grab a copy and read this exclusive story.